That's right, the countdown has begun, guys. Winner of this goes on and secures a higher guaranteed placing. The loser drops down and will have only one more life. It's Liquid Taeja versus Creator Prime. Creator had to defeat Hyun to get this far. And if you get this far, if you beat Hyun and Taeja, you got to feel on top of the world, Chef.
Yeah, that would definitely build anyone's confidence pretty high, I think.
Absolutely. Looks like the game has loaded. Let's get ready. Game number 3 between Liquid Taeja and Creator Prime here at IPL 5. Here in the top left corner, who has landed on Entomb Valley, we have the Red Terran, champion of DreamHack, champion of MLG, champion of Assembly. He is
Liquid Taeja.
He's focused.
Oh, he's definitely focused. In the bottom right corner, we have the blue Protoss, hailing from Prime, one of the anchors in team leagues and runner-up to the Blizzard World Championships. He is
Creator Prime.
All right, so what do you think is going to happen in this game? We've had fairly standard-ish Marine timings, defenses, and went from there. Do you think anything will change, or do you think it's going to be similar?
Well, I do know Entomb Valley is actually a pretty good map to still 4-gate on. I know it sounds really ridiculous, but Taeja has lost some GSL maps just due to a 4-gate on Entomb Valley. He has to be very careful about that because at the same time, just as similar as 4-gate is really effective, it's because playing greedy is effective on this map too. You do have that wide ramp, and that's what makes it initially scary for a Terran player or even a Protoss player, depending on what build you see at what they're doing. But after Terran secures 3 base, it's really easy for them to turtle, and vice versa. When Protoss can get to that point, they often go for quick third Nexus, go for 8 gates, Mass Templar, or whatever Twilight Council choice they choose to go for, and that's where players like Parting really got a big name for themselves. I don't think necessarily Creator Prime's the player to cheese, but isn't that like a great reason to cheese if that was the case? So I mean, anything can happen.
All right, Taeja's cross-scouting. That's pretty nice of him. He's going to be able to find the Protoss right away. Protoss is going to find a wall and a Marine, and I wonder if that Marine can catch that probe. Oh, just escaping. Getting out of there with 4 HP. That's actually really important because now the probe, well, it looks like it's going to stay around, but it's going to be very risky for it to even try and poke up a ramp in case it just dies instantly.
That's right. It can warp in a pylon. I mean, the way he's moving around, he's going to keep it alive and just keep it in the corner of the map for now. Meanwhile, we see Taeja opening up very standard. No gas opening this time. We've seen him open gas in both games, although they were both unconventional by earlier means. Taeja, of course, is the guy that does like that triple command center opening in Terran vs. Protoss. Sometimes he even drops it after his second command center. So he'll go command center, barracks, command center, command center. Sometimes that's how crazy this guy is.
I've seen it. He's doing it. Nice call. Nice call.
Oh man, he likes doing that stuff, and if he can get away with it, he just has so much supply. It's kind of like the Zerg Roach Max in a way. He just makes like an insane amount of Marauders and Marines and just overwhelms you. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, well, the threat to it can definitely be a 1-base all-in, and Creator isn't going to do it. He's throwing down the Nexus. He is actually throwing down maybe a few more gateways here because he's holding on probes. So it could be some sort of Nexus pressure or 2-base pressure, basically.
Yeah, it's a safer route. Gateways, you feel like you need to squeeze out more units just in case. And this has always been one of the biggest plights of Protoss. It's really tough to scout. It's really easy to scout Protoss because it takes a while for you to get out Stalker to control any vision, especially on those pesky workers. Creator Prime pokes up, but still doesn't see much. He sees a lot of Marines, but that still doesn't tell him anything. And Taeja's very deliberately placed these buildings in a nice spot.
Yep, he can't get up, can't see any of this command centers floating down yet. He has to know, by the fact that there's no bunker blocking, that he's a little bit afraid. Like, I would assume if I'm the Protoss, I'm not worried about like a Marine SUV all in with pull, right? Because, he's not even trying to hold his ramp there. He's not trying to, completely hold vision there. So now the bunker's coming up. It is a little bit late, where if there was some sort of timing here hitting right now, which the warp gate is done, so there would be some possibility of hitting right now, force building off these Marines and, basically killing Taeja. But there isn't, and so we really don't have to worry about that. He's going to get that bunker up. He'll be safe. He'll have 3 command centers. And we're going to have to see how he converts that little bit of a lead that he got from playing a little bit greedy into mid-game.
Yeah, and you know, a quick robo means that I don't think Creator is going to necessarily take a really fast third, because it's really hard to go Robotech and really invest in it while still being able to squeeze out enough units to feel safe against any kind of Terran poke or drop, especially around that Medivac timing. So, you know, he might just drop his double forge again, like that Creator style, where he loves upgrades, and then play pretty solid Colossus-based Protoss versus Terran. Meanwhile, we see, again, a pretty standard opening from Taeja, but, you know, he is going up to Factory Tech, skipping some of his add-ons and staying on Marines. We see Taeja usually like early Marauders, but instead he's making his build very lean, saving his gas very deliberately for upgrades.
Yep, and Creator here going for a third Nexus fairly early. Normally on most maps that's kind of risky, and Entombed it can be done because of the nice 2 ramps in the front. It's all he can go up. And, you know, it's going to work out hopefully okay, or probably okay, because Taeja did already take his own third. It's going to be maybe a little bit late, a little bit less economically perfect. So if you look at it, the Terran has 40 SCVs to 40 probes, and I feel like in this situation the Protoss usually wants to have a few more probes to kind of balance out the mules.
You know, and Creator is taking that fast third too, so you know it's actually a great call considering Taeja went for third command center. Oh, the observer has to be very cautious. But as soon as he sees this third command center, he'll know, you know, everything that Taeja's up to.
If he sees it, there's 2 Marines that are going to go snipe it, I think. Whenever there's energy, they're just following that observer around.
The observer does drop. We don't necessarily know how much Creator has seen, but
didn't see the third.
He didn't see the third.
No, just sees all the tech. So by seeing the timing of the tech, he probably knows there's a third CC though.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely see that. I mean, Taeja also couldn't have squeezed out that many Marauders, granted that he went for fast third command center too. And this is a strong timing that Taeja can poke out because Creator doesn't have that many units. Let's look at his units tab. He's got a couple Mortals, which is great, and Sentries for Force Field. But like realistically, it's going to be really tough for him to hold on if he really wants to secure all of his bases as soon as Taeja moves out with Medivacs. Although Taeja's the one being defensive because technically since he went 3 command center, he doesn't know if his opponent is going for like a super hardcore Colossus push, because one of the biggest dangers to a 3 CC opening is like a Squirtle 2 base Colossus.
Alright, well, Taeja got another Observer in the main, and now he's just going to have these 2 Medivacs out. I'm pretty sure those 2 Medivacs are going to signal a time, hey Marines, we should probably follow these Medivacs to our opponent's base, see what we can do. And, you know, Taeja already has his third up, it's mining, as is Creators, so it's actually a very nice macro game here from both players.
Yep, I mean, pretty much setting up for strong mid-game. You see Robotics Bay about to finish up, Blink as well as Double Forge. Vintage classic Creator Prime, what he wants to do for the mid and late game. And Doom Valley is also a really nice map for, you know, that spread out battles if you can get Storm earlier on too, so you can drop everywhere, or sorry, you can warp in everywhere, because a lot of pylons can hide behind the nooks and crannies. Creator sees the Medivac timing, but it is about a minute later than it is, and I mean, Creator should know, like, well, this Medivac timing is pretty significantly late. Taeja has to be going for a quick third of some sort.
Yep, and you know, if you look at it, again, the only real big difference here is Taeja has 1 on attack, and the Protoss just doesn't. He's baiting on some force fields. I don't think he can engage fully here. I think both players need to kind of just be safe, sit back. The Protoss doesn't know if there's a dropship coming to his main. This time, he actually doesn't have 4 Stalkers sitting there waiting. Oh, look at this. Taeja running in. Let's see what he can get.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, he picks off 1 Immortal for free, and he's picking a nice position, although Colossus does arrive, and that's going to motion Taeja to escape. But, oh, no. Some of the bio does get picked off. And, well, trading an Immortal for that many bio, I think, is actually not that bad for Creator. Taeja did kill off some probes, though, and that's got to be a little bit annoying.
Yeah, but, I mean, beyond that, too, Taeja knows exactly what's going on. He sees the full army composition. He saw there's a Colossus at that timing, and he managed to get one of the Immortals. I think definitely in this situation, I'd rather be Taeja, because what does the Protoss know? He knows that, okay, there are 2 Medivacs. I keep losing all my Observers. He doesn't have a tower. He has a couple Observers on the map, but they're really just kind of watching this army right here. And that's one of the things Taeja does really well, is like, hey, watch this army. Look how aggressive I'm being with this army. And then, like, bam, there's that other army from the other side, just kind of giving him that lead into the mid-game.
I really like this decision to both get Vikings and Ghosts from Taeja, because he's seen both sides of the coin from Creator. He saw a Colossus base, he's seen a Templar fake, or sorry, Colossus fake into Templars.
Yep.
And so he's being very comprehensive, and he's going to try to go for double Medivac drops while pressuring the third base. This is where Taeja can pick apart most of his opponents, but we've seen great defense out of Creator Prime, and looks like he's good on one side, and he's good on the other.
All right, well, there are 2 dropships going into the main. The ones up front are having to run away. That huge Colossus army can absolutely destroy that small army, but this small army of Marines and Marauders picking off a lot of Stalkers and then kind of running away, making it back into the Metamax to fight another day.
Yeah, and that's actually really actually, hold that thought. The Colossus is moving into the middle of the map. Taeja might be, well, I guess he's not really committing to a full frontal assault. He's just going to poke in here and try to see if he can snipe this Colossus. A great discovery here from Taeja while meeting up with the rest of the units, and then in the end, he has more Metavacs enough to pick up everything and leave. Taeja doing a great job, and he's gotten great information. He saw 2 Colossus and 1 he picked off, so he knows that his opponent's committing to Robotech for this composition.
Yep, we saw last time we went into Archon and Storm, and that was such a surprise. This time there's 2 Colossus. We know here that there's going to be a 3rd one, or well, actually, he's going into Immortals again. So 2 Colossus, and we're going to have to see if Taeja here can kind of figure that out, figure out only 2 Colossus and make the right amount of Vikings to deal with it.
Well, I mean, normally you want at least, like 3 Colossus is usually really a good sweet spot number.
Yep.
I mean, obviously 2 can pretty much instantly kill the Marine if you have like enough DPS to support it. But, you know, Taeja doesn't necessarily have too many Vikings yet. He's still stacking them up. He's still sharking around. He's joining up with some of the units. He does have 6 Vikings. Oh, but he's picking a very interesting position where Creator can flank perfectly, and Taeja has to kite towards the 3rd base. All those units are clumped up. The Colossus is able to do massive damage, and Creator jumps out to a pretty big lead as Taeja stepped a little bit too far and paid a huge price. Well played by Creator Prime.
Yep, and something that might have caused that to happen is Taeja looked, I assume, at the Protoss army, and if you clicked on his Zealot, 2 seconds before that engagement, it was 1-1 upgrades. And then the moment the Creator saw, okay, he's a little bit extended, the 2-2 popped in right then, and Taeja only at 1-2. He might have thought, okay, I have an advantage on upgrades, but he really didn't, because that 2-2 just popped at the perfect time. And now Creator's maybe, can he just run through him again? Can he attack up this ramp? I don't know.
Well, it is still a little bit tough for Protoss to poke in here. He did lose all of his Colossus. I mean, the only real form of AoE is the Archons. If you bunch everything, you know, Taeja with his kind of micro and his kind of concave that he can set up, it's still going to be tough for Creator to do it, but he's just got so much supply. Taeja's pulling his SCVs because he knows it's a dire moment. Focusing down the Archons, the Stalkers blink forward, trying to see if they can get a good concave, but look at how all the Zealots are jumbling up, and the EMP is forcing the Zealots to disengage because they really don't have that much meat shield left.
There's no Storm. Can you imagine a couple of Storms right there on that army? That would have been devastating. But now Taeja has an extra base, and if you look at the primary part of the Protoss army, it's really Stalker and Zealot. And if Taeja can just wait until max versus max, the Protoss army seems a little bit weak to me. There is 1 Templar in there, but very low, well, that Templar got morphed into an Archon even. And if you look at upgrades now, right now it's 2-2. In a minute it's going to be 3-2. And the Protoss doesn't have that upgrade advantage. He's going for it right now.
This is the perfect time to strike. +3 isn't done. Taeja trying to set up a good concave, and the Colossus is focusing on the right group, but the Stalkers are cleaning up the Viking flank. There's no way for Taeja to deal with it, and his supply is plummeting despite him being able to macro up a significant amount. Creator Prime is going to be able to strike down the Terran army. GG.
Nicely played.
Game at number 3 goes to Creator Prime. Well played by Creator, recognizing situation. His decision-making was awesome. And sure, he didn't have Storm, but man, he's
worked.
So many units, man, with sick upgrades.
He got the Colossus that came in at the end. I feel like that definitely helped the DPS switch over into his favor.
Yeah, it makes it so that, you know, like you can't really ball up and prevent the Zealots from you know,
spreading
getting
out,
us around.
hitting.
You have to split up and make sure that the Colossus can't get so much AoE damage done. But overall, very impressed by Creator. He advances to the winners bracket round at number 5. Tell me your thoughts on the series, Chef.
Well, it was really high-level play. Sad to see Taeja lose, but it happens. And Creator played great. I think if you look at it, you have to just be the most impressed with the person who plays the best. And in that series, it was Creator.
Yeah, look at that. Creator already walking off stage like a boss. Guys, that means that Taeja will fall to the losers bracket. Man, he looked so good in game number 1, but it was his first series of the day. And Creator, I mean, he had a lot of momentum. He first took out Shuttle, then beat Leah, and then moved on to beat Hyun, and now he's beaten Taeja. I mean, this guy is looking super sharp for an awesome run.
Yep, you bet. You know what game we're going to be playing next, or players?